evening and welcome to Love Every Moment, coming to you today from the Black Hills of South Dakota. Today's verse is Matthew 7:16. You will know them by their fruits. Grapes are not gathered from thorn bushes, nor figs from thistles, are they? Well, in last week's verse, and I have the link right up here, we were warned about false prophets. They come in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. And so obviously the Lord wants to warn us and show us how to tell a wolf in sheep's clothing from a true sheep, from a true prophet. So the interesting thing is what it doesn't say. It doesn't say what I would expect it to say. I would expect this verse to say, you will know them by their false doctrines. So why doesn't it say that? Shouldn't we know doctrine? Well, of course we should, but a lot of false prophets can be very tricky. They come in sheep's clothing, they look good, and they can twist the scripture, still have a kernel of truth, but take it on another direction. So it's not the easiest way to tell necessarily through their doctrine. The second thing is it doesn't say you could tell them by their Christian acts. Well, that's because non-Christians can do Christian acts. Non-Christians can give to charity. That's a Christian act. Non-Christians can forgive. That's a Christian act. So you can't go by that. Number 3, it doesn't say you'll know them by their spiritual gifts. It doesn't say you'll know them because they speak in tongues or because they prophesy. Well, of course they're prophesying. They're falsely prophesying. They're false prophets. It says you'll know them by their fruit. And then it gives the obvious. Grapes don't come from thorn bushes. Figs don't come from thistles. It's really obvious. Grapes come from grapevines, and so on. So let's look at the same verse in Luke, because an extra verse shows a little more insight on this. In Luke 6:44, it says, "For each tree is known by its own fruit. For men do not gather figs from thorns, nor do they pick grapes from a briar bush. The good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth what is good, and the evil man out of the evil treasure brings forth what is evil, for his mouth speaks from that which fills his heart." That's where we're seeing the fruit, because it comes from deep inside, from the heart. If we see that propensity of good fruits, we'll know that in their heart they are a sheep. And if we see the bad fruits, well, we'll know the opposite. Let's look at what Jesus says in John 15:5. Jesus says, "I am the vine and you are the branches. He who abides in me and I in him, he bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing." I like the fact that it says this is fruit. It just happens. Think about this. Does a fruit tree actually exert any effort to bear fruit? I gotta bring forth an apple. No, it doesn't do that. It just happens. It's almost like saying, if you're alive, your heart will beat. You don't have to try to make your heart beat. It just will. And Jesus says, apart from me, you can do nothing. So the true fruit can only come, the true Christian fruit, the fruit of the Spirit, can only come if Jesus is there in our hearts. That's one of the reasons why we can tell if someone's a Christian from their fruit. Now, we're going to get into the fruits of the Spirit much more next week, but it's worth a quick look at Galatians 5:22 and 23, just to get the list. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Not everyone is going to have all of this all the time. We all fail. So I'm not saying we have to follow a pastor that is perfect and doesn't fall ever, but that pastor should have the propensity of the fruits. Follow that person and notice the number one fruit is love. Because if we love every moment, we're going to love every moment. I'm your average wretch, and I hope you have a great week.